host, Gary Vaynerchuk. And this, my friends, is The Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program. And we are here at Chateau Clinet with Ronan, the owner, and we are tasting through the 07's barrel samples, working on a little bit of a secret project. We'll get to that later and you'll find out. But I'm very excited about having Ronan here. I'm going to let him explain a little bit about where Clinet came from, where it's going, and we're going to have the absolute privilege of tasting the 05 and the 06 Clinet for you here on the Thunder Show. So without further ado, Ronan, why don't you say hello to all the maniacs?
Hello!
Why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do and what's going on with Clinet?
So Chateau Clinet is a family-owned company. Owned only for 10 years by the Laborde family, so my family, and I took over the management only 5 years ago. So I mean 05, 04 were my first vintages, and 06 is quite a confirmation of our talent.
Very much. So tell us what happened and what you wanted to do once you got involved with Clinet.
Well, I took over the management in 2004, in fact. And we started with a brand new winery, integrated into the soil, so that we can put and lift the grapes downside, so that there's a gravity incorporation into the vats.
Which is imperative.
Exactly. Very important to keep the fruits and the freshness of the wine.
What was it about the terroir here that induced your family to get involved, do you think? I mean, were you guys looking at a lot of different properties to get involved with?
No.
You stumbled into it? What was the connection to Clinet?
Well, it's a financial investment. As my father is in different businesses, he started with some investment in Hungary, so this is quite original.
Yes.
In the region of Tokaj.
Yes.
With the most sweet wines and dry white wines. And Clinet was an opportunity. I was a fan of drinking wine, in fact, mostly Pomerol, but also more generally Bordeaux. And Clinet was an opportunity 10 years ago to buy, so we get it.
Snapped it up. Let's talk about the 05 and 06 that we have here. Well, actually, you know what I think would be a lot of fun? Why don't you tell the maniacs, because a lot of them don't know in America yet about the 07 vintage that we were just tasting. Exactly. Why don't you give your overview of what you saw with 07?
07, it's quite difficult vintage with the weather, but nowadays it's difficult to miss the quality of the wine. If you got the good vineyard, the whole vineyard mostly, and if you got the people, so that can be very react with the weather, so that we care a lot about doing the good things on the weather,
sure,
on the vineyard according to the weather.
Understand this is a very imperative point that you need to understand. Unlike a decade ago, and obviously way further, it is a lot harder to have a vintage completely flop because of technology. You know the weather a month in advance now. You know, it's not like the day before anymore. And, you know, I think that's a very big shift in Bordeaux and around the world where, you know, a vintage that might give you not perfection in weather is a lot more manageable, would you say?
Exactly. So
even within the last half decade?
The principle...
Chateau man? What do you think? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, as a simple negociant, you're absolutely correct. I think the last real poor, really, can you say shitty vintage? It's true that the last really poor vintage in Bordeaux was 84, completely...
Well, 91 wasn't too
Well, 91, 92, 92. No, you're right, 91, yeah. 92, 93 were...
Especially were 91, 92.
Big differences though. 91, 92, 93 were, especially 91, 92, were very simple wines.
Yeah.
But at least they had balance.
Right. And
two, that they were particularly inexpensive, sure, because the markets made them at very reasonable prices. Whereas 84 was, I mean, there's the worst Cabernet that ever produced in Bordeaux. I mean, I speak under your guidance, and at the same time, it was priced completely ridiculously.
Yeah.
So,
So, you know, I think that's important. Now, you also have to understand, and we talked a lot about this when I talked about the whole 04, 05 vintage. You've heard me a lot of times talk about 2004 as the last Mohican, the 05, changing the price structure of 05. For example, by percentage, how much did Clinet go up in price from 04 to 05, just by percentage?
100%.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, I don't blame them. I mean, I've talked about how I still feel the wines are still underpriced, believe it or not. A world-demanded product. In your '07 sales, what countries did you see a spike? We know in '07 in the US there was a little bit of a softening of interest.
Yeah.
Where did you see a spike in interest?
There was a spike definitely in France because the prices
Sure.
went down, so that they were more interested
Sure, than the '06
for the French people.
Okay.
In Europe, more generally, because of the euro very strong. So as the price decreased from '07 compared to '06, it was more interesting definitely for European people. Also, we see a growing interest in the Asian markets. And little interest also in America, in North America. I mean, in Canada and
Yeah, that's
still a
something
little
I've been
bit in
hearing.
America.
Well, of course. I mean, obviously, especially for Cliné. But what I want to really talk about is this world demand that I continue to talk about every time I talk about Bordeaux. You know, they want to be very polite, but the fact of the matter is, we're not talking about a decade ago where the U.S. market was the market or a very major, substantial part of it. You know, they had the UK market, they had the U.S. market, and then the local market, obviously. I think the Asian influence, you know, though Russia and China don't often buy on Premier, they do know, all the, you know, Bordeaux owners, that they're going to buy them eventually because the markets in those countries as well are growing. As you may know, I'm going to India and I know what's going on there with the classified. Like I talk about it all the time. I love Screaming Eagle and Colgin and Harlan and all that stuff, but there's still only one real global brand, and that's the Bordeaux umbrella. Let's talk about the 05-06 Cliné. Which one would you like to taste first? Do you want to start with the 06 or do you want to start with the 05?
I suggest us to start with the 05.
Okay. Being, you know, here with no Wi-Fi, I have no exact idea of what the price point is right now in the Cliné. I know we probably sold it over $100. I'm not sure exactly how much north of that, but what I do know is the price is up a heck of a lot from a year and a half ago when we were screaming for everybody to buy it. So here's the 05 Cliné. What is the blend of the 05 Cliné?
It's the typical Clinet blend, 85% Merlot, 15% Cabernet mixed. Well, we would say 10% Cabernet Sauvignon and 5% Cabernet Franc.
Now, I normally say that, would you like some? Get over here. Get over here. Sit in the water.
I'm not going to pass up on the 05.
Yeah. Like I've been saying,
Thank you very
of course, no. Like I've been saying, we don't like to score wine in front of owners or winemakers anymore. We've kind of cut that out, but I think this is going to be an easy one. So I may actually score this while I'm here. So 85 Merlot, 15 Cabernet?
Exactly.
And when you say 15 Cabernet, that does mean 3 to 5% Franc.
Definitely, 5% in this case.
Which I learned as I was tasting the 07. I'm not that good.
Cabernet Franc has been a razor for a few years.
Yeah. Beautiful nose. I get really gorgeous, fresh red fruit coming through. There's also still a very strong aromatics of flowers. Violets coming through, very fresh on the nose. What are you picking up on the nose?
The same thing, I would say. A lot of red fruits. That's a major difference with the 07, for example, that are still in barrels.
Right.
Very mature, like jammy fruits.
Quite a bit. Raspberries, cherries, you know, just very bright red fruit. I'm really enjoying the violet component on the back end of the nose. Just a little bit of like rose petal. Very gorgeous nose. Let's give it a whirl. Did you give it a good sniffy sniff?
Definitely.
Give it. There you go. All right, let's give it a whirl. I am still fundamentally convinced that if Ian, who's behind the camera, and I made a wine in 2005, that it would have been good. And the amount of skill that Ian and I have, though Ian wants to be a winemaker, I think, but I have zero. You know, just a very amazing vintage. Great back-end structure. I mean, you feel the tannins, but unlike, and this is where I really think this vintage shows its shine, not bitter in any shape or form. Polished tannins on the back end, huge structure, a massive mouthfeel. I get a dark shaved chocolate flavor on the back end of the palate, and the red fruits on the nose translate to the palate, but almost some dark fruit comes through as well. All of a sudden, I'm getting almost like a blueberry component on the mouthfeel. What are you getting on the flavor profile?
Quite the same, I would say. It's a complete description of the wine. I would add some lavender, if you know this. That is planted in Provence. Very nice. Quite comparable with the violet.
You know what's interesting? I almost get a graphite-y, kind of leady, kind of pencil shaving kind of component on the mouthfeel as well. And you know what else? Black tea.
Black tea, yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time black tea on the back end, on the finish. This is serious. You know what? I'm kind of pissed that, I'm not a collector at heart. I like collecting, but I don't. I mean, everybody thinks I'm, because of baseball cards, I was a collector. But it's funny, I just like selling things that are collectible. Because I should have saved some of this. We had this in large format too, didn't we? Do we have any in large format?
Maybe.
We sold it? I remember.
Who knows?
I don't know. This is extremely exceptional stuff. To me, this shows the polish and elegance of classic Bordeaux. I think you know that I've had plenty of people on and been thrilled to call their wines 85 points if they had to go that way. I'm going to go in the ballpark of 95 points on this wine. I think this is classic. This is a new style of Cliné for me. It was actually, to me, I've drank a lot of Cliné. This is a little bit different than, the Cliné my dad grew up with. There's a lot of, I don't know, for me, Cliné always drank very well early, and I always questioned, where's this going to be in 20 years? Whereas with this wine, it is very obvious to me that this is going to stick around a lot longer than I am. I mean, really great back-end structure.
Exactly.
Let's go to the 06. Phenomenal.
Thank you. Not labeled yet. The 06.
Give me a little
And
rinse. Perfect.
bottled the beginning of April, so just 2 months ago.
Okay. Tell us about the 06 growing season.
The price includes the label though, or is there a surcharge for the label?
Yes, we're going to get in now. Can we get it without the label? Save a couple bucks for the U.S. market. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the 06 growing season and the final blend?
Wow, 2006 was a very nice vintage, quite comparable with 2005. We could have had even a very exceptional vintage if it didn't rain just before the harvest.
That son of a bitch rain.
Definitely, mid-September. So that we had to pick earlier, but slightly earlier.
So you're telling me, without that mid-September rain, you feel 06 would have easily rivaled 05?
Yeah,
It would have been like that.
definitely.
It would have been like that classic 89-90 debate, 95-96,
Exactly.
right?
It's-
A little different, but both good.
I agree. It's still a very nice vintage, I think,
Yeah.
for the future. It's quite like 2001 and 2000.
Yep. Okay.
Very interesting.
That's a great way to
match.
put it. Yep. That's a great way to put it. Okay. And what did you? Wow, great nose. You didn't taste the 06, did you?
I did. I tasted it when we first got here.
And what did you do with the final blend?
Well, it's again classic Cliné blend.
85-15?
85-15. Yeah.
Are you really firm on that 85-15?
No. It happens that in some vintages we do 100% Merlot blend, like in 2001, like in 1998, and like.
But
in
since you've been 04, how about 04?
04 classic.
85-15.
Yeah.
05,
05
85-15.
classic.
06,
06,
85-15.
and 07
So
should
you've
be
been
the
in
same.
charge in that, and so under your umbrella, you're going with that 85-15 so far.
I mean, it depends on the quality of the Cabernet.
So
If
you're,
they are nice,
you're open. Got it.
good to blend.
Understood. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. That's what we do. A little bit of a tighter nose. Obviously, a little bit of younger wine. That should be expected. I get a little subtle. It's a darker wine than the 05.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, this is more dark fruity than the red brightness that we saw in the 05.
You're right.
Little more closed. It smells like I feel like I'm smelling a cave a little bit, which I like. You get to caves much and smell around. That's what you have to do.
Oh, sorry.
Very nice. A little minty, a little bit more like eucalyptus kind of. Nah, I wouldn't want to go there because I would give the wrong perception. But there's a spearmint kind of peppermint kind of freshness on the nose a little bit. So let's just give it a whirl, see where it's going. It's pretty good. I have to admit, preconceived notions, you get caught sometimes. I mean, This is tasting a little bit better than I thought it was going to. Very gorgeous. This is dry. You want some dryness? This really has it. It's got a dry, crushed up cranberry component on the mouthfeel that I like quite a bit. What are you getting on the mouthfeel here and the flavor profile?
Again, the red fruit flavors. I mean, 05, 06, red fruit flavors. 07, still in barrels, more black fruit flavors.
Price-wise, how much did it go down from the 05?
32%
32.
decrease in Europe.
Understood. So you're still up 68 points on 04. Very good. So I gotta tell you, this is extremely good. I'm a little bit caught off guard, honestly. I mean, I was really happy, if you remember. You know what? Not Ian. Mott, link it up. Ian, you're gonna have to do the homework. I did give a little bit of an 06 report a year and a half ago, and I was really excited about the potential of the 06s at that time. I think, you know, I haven't tasted a whole lot of 06s in a long time. This is one of the first I've come across since I've been here, since I just got here. And if this is any indication, then this could be a vintage that we need to talk about a little bit more. I have to admit, in front of everybody, I was a little bit disappointed by the price decrease. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more. They can't control the euro-dollar situation. So the problem was, even though there was a 32% decrease in price, which was very nice and fair, again, that's what they can control, from the point, the dollar is up. I mean, Laurent, you'd be better than I would at this. What do you think since the 06s have come out? I mean, we're talking about 20-something%, right?
16%.
16?
Between 06 and 07?
Yeah.
Between
05 and 06.
the dollar drop?
Yeah.
15%.
Yeah. So, you know, to close the gap, and again, that's something they can't control, right? I mean, what do you expect from them? They got to put out their price. They can't control currency. It seems like nobody can. But I would tell you, regardless of that, the quality is in place. I don't think it's got the elegance and refinement of the 05. It's got all of the power and all of the structure. Maybe not. I don't know. I would say that head-to-head, it will probably last maybe a half a decade to a decade less, in my opinion, but I could be wrong. I mean, that's really gauging, and that's what they all do. The quality drinking now is extremely high. To me, this rolls in as a, you know, I would say a 93-point wine. This is extremely good, a very good effort in 06, in my opinion. I gotta be honest with you, as soon as Ian turns this off, we're gonna go and do some homework and see what Wine Searcher is selling it for, and if we can nab it up and it makes any sense. Really interesting dedication and quality to the 06. Did you do a little bit more selecting on 06? Was the production down?
No, definitely not the same production.
So when you saw the rain, you just got in there and picked. Now, see, understand, Clinet production is pretty small.
It is only 3,000 cases per vintage.
You're talking about a 3,000 case brand, whereas, why don't you let them know, what are the first growths rolling in at now?
15,000.
Yeah, 15,000 cases. Pay attention. So, you know, all that hoopla that the cold, small production California wines get, it gets very lost in Bordeaux. A lot of the producers that are making great wines, especially in the right bank, making smaller production wines, people don't realize it. They go chasing for the, and they should, first growths are amazing, but with the pricing structure these days, you know, to me, there's no doubt in my mind, I hate to say this out loud while I'm out here, but first growths are going to be $1,000 a bottle coming out on release. That's just the way it's going to be. And so, to me, finding these diamonds and gems before they figure it out and raise their prices is a real opportunity. And so I really think that it's a lot of fun, and I'm very impressed, and I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that we did not cover about Cliné that you'd love the Vineyards out there to know about?
Definitely. It's not only a wine to collect, it's also a wine to drink. So please enjoy Chateau Cliné 05, please enjoy Chateau Cliné 06.
Thank you. And 04, Last of the Mohicans. Question of the day. You don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
You need to ask the American Vineyards out there. Well, no, there's European, there's tons of Vineyards. There's worldwide Vineyards. A question. Any question about wine, you have to ask. It's a tradition for a guest. Go ahead, anything you want. Doesn't even have to be about wine. You can ask them a question about the weather, about sports, about football, anything you want. Question, go.
You're looking for a girlfriend. This is time.
Oh, he's looking for a girlfriend. He's going to get plenty of offers. Question, go ahead.
I'm looking for an American girlfriend, so please send us
This is
an
going to be our
email.
biggest comment.
This might be ever.
Wait till you see if we do a little tour of the Chateau, we'll get more answers. Because you, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world, whether they like it or not. Thank you, my friend.
Of Pomerol is that there are separated plots belonging to different owners. Like here, it belongs to l'Église Cliné, for example. Here it belongs to Gombeau de Guyot. It's a bio wines, in fact. And Chateau Cliné vines are located just next to the chateau. Just behind the car are located the Cabernet Sauvignon, very nice, very old. And next to the chateau are the young vines. And on the left side of the road, maybe 100 meters on the left, are located Chateau Cliné vines again, mostly Merlot. But the biggest part is located around the church, with a very old vines. 67 years old, this year 68 years old, in fact.